Deep in the heart of the galaxy, in a vast empire known for its strength and pride, ruled the alien queen. She was a leader unlike any other, powerful and wise. Her species had built great cities on shining planets and had ruled many star systems for centuries. But the queen was tired. Tired of the endless fighting, the betrayals, and the politics that never seemed to end. She felt the weight of her crown grow heavier each day. The galaxy was a place of constant conflict. Alliances shifted like sand, and wars broke out over small disagreements. The alien queen had hoped to bring peace, but instead, she saw only more bloodshed. Many of her closest advisors urged her to fight harder, to crush her enemies completely. But the queen's heart was heavy with sadness. She knew that more fighting would only bring more pain. One night, as she stood on the balcony of her palace, looking at the stars, she made a decision. She would leave the empire. She would turn away from the whole galaxy. She wanted to find a place where she could be free from the endless struggles, a place where she could think and heal. It was not an easy choice. Leaving meant giving up her throne and her people. But the queen knew she could no longer stay. Her ship was a masterpiece of alien technology. Sleek and silent, it could travel faster than light, crossing the vast distances between stars in a blink. She left quietly, with only a few trusted companions who understood her need for peace. The news of her departure spread quickly across the galaxy. Some thought she had gone mad. Others believed she had been defeated by her enemies. But the queen did not care what others thought. She only wanted to find solitude. The ship traveled for many days through empty space. She visited distant planets, places untouched by war. She saw great forests with trees taller than any building she had known. She saw oceans with waves that shimmered under alien suns. For a moment, the queen felt a small spark of hope. Maybe here, away from the galaxy's chaos, she could find peace. But even in this quiet place, the queen could not forget her past. Memories of battles and lost friends haunted her. She thought about the empire she left behind, the people who still looked to her for guidance. The weight of responsibility was heavy, even in her exile. One day, as the ship scanned the nearby space, the sensors picked up a small signal. It was weak but steady, coming from a nearby star system. The queen's curiosity was piqued. What was this signal? She ordered the ship to approach cautiously. As they drew closer, they saw a small vessel, unlike any she had seen before. It was simple and unassuming, but it moved with purpose. The queen's mind raced with questions. Who piloted this ship? Was it friend or foe? She decided to make contact. The ship's communication system sent a message, clear and calm. Moments later, a reply came back in an unfamiliar language, but it was translated quickly by the ship's universal translator. The message was respectful and cautious. Soon, a small meeting was arranged between the queen's ship and the unknown vessel. The queen herself would meet the pilot. She wanted to see who this stranger was and why they had come so close. The day of the meeting arrived. The queen stood on the observation deck, watching as the small vessel docked. The doors opened slowly, and a figure stepped out. It was a human, wearing a simple uniform. The human looked calm but alert, their eyes bright with intelligence and curiosity. The queen studied the human carefully. Unlike many aliens she had met, this human did not carry weapons or wear heavy armor. There was something different about them, a strength that was not shown through power or technology, but something deeper. The human captain stepped forward and bowed slightly, a gesture of respect. The queen returned the gesture with a small nod. The air between them was filled with a strange mix of tension and curiosity. The queen spoke first, her voice calm but firm. "Why have you come here, human? This place is far from your known space." The human replied, "We explore and learn. We seek new friends and allies. War has touched many worlds, but we believe in hope. I am Captain Jared from the Earth starship, Voyager." The queen felt a flicker of interest. Hope was a rare thing in her galaxy, often lost beneath fear and hatred. She decided to test the humans' words. Your people are new to the stars. Many see you as weak and unprepared. Why should I trust you? Captain Jared met her gaze steadily. Strength is not only in weapons or ships, it is in the heart and the will to stand and protect what is right. We may be young, but we do not back down from challenges. The Queen was silent for a moment. No one had spoken to her this way in a long time. There was honesty in the human's voice, courage she had not expected. As the meeting ended, the Queen returned to her ship's bridge. She could not stop thinking about Captain Jared and his simple but powerful words. Maybe, just maybe, this human was different from the others. The Queen looked out at the stars once more. The galaxy was still full of pain and conflict, but something had changed inside her. For the first time in a long time, she felt a small hope. Perhaps her exile was not the end, but the beginning of something new, and so far from the eyes of the galaxy. The alien queen began to wonder if the humans, these strange newcomers, might hold the key to a future she had long dreamed of, a future where peace could finally be possible. The alien queen could not forget the human captain's words. Hope was a rare thing in her long years of rule, but Captain Jared had spoken of it with honesty and strength. Curiosity grew inside her, and she decided to learn more about this human and their people. The Queen's ship stayed near the quiet star system where she first met Captain Jared. The human scout ship, called the Voyager, remained nearby as well. Both crews were cautious, but respectful of each other's presence. The Queen's advisors warned her to be careful. Humans were unknown and unpredictable, but the Queen trusted her own feelings more than warnings. One morning, Captain Jared requested a meeting with the Queen again. This time it would be more personal. The Queen agreed. She wanted to see what this human was truly like. When Captain Jared arrived on the Queen's ship, she greeted him with a calm but warm expression. The large chamber where they met was filled with soft light from the alien windows. It was a peaceful place, far from the wars and noise of the galaxy. Captain Jared, the Queen said, you speak of hope and peace.
Oh.
But your people are young and untested. What makes you believe you can change the fate of the galaxy? Jared looked thoughtful. Our history is not long, but it is full of struggle. Earth was once full of conflict, just like your empire. But we learned that strength comes from working together, from standing up for others, even when it is hard. We don't have the largest ships or the strongest weapons yet, but we have something more important, the will to protect life and to build a better future. The Queen listened carefully. She remembered the many years she had spent fighting just to survive. The idea of building a better future without endless war was almost foreign to her. Your words are strange to me, she said softly. In my world, peace is a dream many have died for. It is a dream worth fighting for, Jared said, and it is never easy. But that is why we keep trying. They talked for hours that day. The Queen shared stories of her empire, of great cities, proud warriors, and terrible battles. Jared spoke of Earth's history, the wars, the mistakes, and the hopes for something better. During their talks, the Queen noticed something special in Jared's eyes. It was not just courage, but kindness and respect. He saw her not just as a queen or a ruler, but as a being tired of pain and longing for peace. Later, the Queen invited Jared to meet her closest advisors. She wanted them to see the human for themselves. Many of the advisors were skeptical. They had seen too many enemies and traitors in their time. But Jared spoke clearly and honestly, showing no fear, even in a room full of strangers. He told them about human values, teamwork, trust, and courage. He explained how humans believed that even small actions could change the course of history. Some advisors began to soften. They could see that humans might be different from other species. Maybe this new hope was not a threat but a chance. As days passed, the Queen and Jared spent more time together. They explored the nearby planets, looking for signs of life and places where they might find peace. They shared meals in quiet rooms, learning about each other's cultures. One evening, as they watched the stars from the Queen's ship, Jared said, "You know, your story is not so different from ours. You carry the burden of your people, just like we carry ours. Maybe together we can find a way to heal." The queen smiled faintly. "You give me hope, human, something I thought was lost forever." But peace was not easy to find. News traveled fast across the galaxy. Rival factions learned that the alien queen had made contact with humans, a species many feared and misunderstood. Whispers of danger and betrayal grew louder. The queen's former enemies saw an opportunity. If the queen was weak enough to seek help from humans, they believed she could be defeated easily. Warships began to gather near her old empire, ready to strike. The queen received urgent messages from her loyal commanders. They demanded she return and prepare for battle. Said the galaxy would not wait for her to heal. The queen felt torn. She knew she must protect her people, but she feared the endless cycle of violence would never end. She looked at Jared and asked, "How do your people face such dangers?" Jared answered without hesitation, "We stand together. We use our minds and our hearts. We never give up. And we fight not because we want war, but because we want peace." The queen considered his words. Maybe the humans could teach her new ways to protect without endless war. She made a decision. She would return to her empire, but this time not alone. She would bring Jared and his crew with her. Together, they would face the coming storm, as the queen's ship and the Voyager prepared to leave the quiet system. A new feeling filled the queen's heart, not fear, but hope. Hope that maybe, just maybe, the galaxy could change, and that this human who had shown her kindness and strength was the beginning of something new. The alien queen's ship moved steadily through space, heading back toward her empire. Beside her, the human Captain Jared and his small crew prepared for what lay ahead. The queen was still unsure about bringing humans into her world, but she had begun to trust. Jaredon trust was a rare thing in her life. On board the queen's ship, life moved quietly, but with purpose. The alien crew watched the humans carefully, curious about these newcomers who seemed so different. Jared and his crew were polite and respectful, eager to learn about the alien world, but careful not to offend. The queen noticed how they worked. Together, each person helping the other, sharing duties with no signs of selfishness or pride. In the evenings, the queen and Jared would meet in the ship's observation room. The stars stretched endlessly outside the great windows, reminding them both of how small their worries were compared to the vast galaxy. "Your people are strange," the queen said one night, a soft smile on her lips. "You seem weaker than many of the warriors I know. You do not carry heavy weapons or wear armor." Jared laughed softly. "We may not be the strongest in appearance, but we have something stronger inside our will. Our spirit helps us face any challenge. We learn, adapt, and never give up." The queen thought about that. In her empire, strength was often shown by power and force. But Jared's words spoke of something different, a quiet strength that came from within. They spoke late into the night about their hopes, fears, and dreams. Jared told stories of Earth, a small blue planet where humans had built great cities, but also made many mistakes. Spoke of people who fought wars, but also those who worked for peace. The queen shared tales of her ancestors' heroes and legends, who had shaped her empire, but had also brought it to the edge of ruin. Slowly, a bond formed between them. It was not just the bond of ruler and visitor, but something deeper. Two souls seeking meaning in a galaxy full of chaos. The queen began to see humans in a new light. They were not the weak newcomers she had once thought. They were survivors, dreamers, and fighters in their own way. Jared's kindness and courage touched her heart. She found herself looking forward to their meetings. One day, the queen invited Jared to visit her home planet, a great world with shining towers and wide green fields. As they walked through the palace gardens, she showed him the places she loved most. The air was filled with the scent of strange flowers, and distant birds sang soft songs. "This place is beautiful," Jared said quietly. "It feels like hope." The queen nodded. "It is my home, but also my prison. So much history here, both good and bad." They sat beside a clear pond, watching the water ripple in the gentle breeze. Jared reached out and touched the queen's hand, a small gesture that spoke of trust and friendship. "I believe your people can find peace," he said, "and I want to help." The queen's eyes filled with tears. No one had ever offered such help without asking for power or reward. For the first time in a long time, she felt truly seen and understood, but their growing bond did not go unnoticed. Whispers and rumors spread across the empire. Some saw the queen's friendship with humans as a betrayal. Old enemies used this as a reason to gather forces and prepare for war. The queen received messages from her generals warning her of danger. They urged her to reject the humans and strengthen the empire's defenses. But the queen stood firm. She believed in the bond she had formed with Jared and the hope he represented. As the threat of war grew closer, the queen and Jared worked together to prepare. Humans and aliens trained side by side, learning from each other. Jared taught the alien soldiers new strategies, not just relying on force, but using intelligence and teamwork. The queen's people began to see the humans differently. Where there had once been fear and distrust, respect started to grow. Humans' courage and dedication inspired even the hardest warriors. One night, as the queen looked out over her empire from the palace balcony, Jared joined her. "Do you think we can really change things?" she asked quietly. Jared smiled. "I know we can. It won't be easy, but together, we are stronger." The queen felt a new strength rising inside her. For years, she had carried the weight of her empire alone.
I'm with Jared and his people.
By her side, she felt hope, real hope, for the future. The stars above twinkled brightly, as if the galaxy itself was watching and waiting for what was to come. The alien queen and Captain Jared had built a fragile bond, but the galaxy was not ready to accept change so easily. Word spread quickly about their alliance, and many were not pleased. Rival alien factions, hungry for power and control, saw an opportunity in the queen's new friendship with humans. To them, this was a sign of weakness, a chance to strike and take what they wanted. The queen's former enemies began to gather their forces in secret. Warships from distant systems moved closer to her empire's borders. Their commanders sent dark messages full of threats, warning the queen that her time was over. They said her empire would fall, that humans were dangerous and untrustworthy, and that no alliance could save her. Inside the queen's palace, her advisors were divided. Some urged her to prepare for war, to call back all her fleets and crush the enemies before they could strike. Others whispered that trusting humans was a mistake and that she should end the alliance quickly. The queen sat alone in her chamber, her thoughts heavy. She had hoped to find peace, but the past had come back to haunt her. She knew that if she did not act soon, her empire could be lost. But the queen also knew that violence had only brought pain and loss in her life. She reached out to Captain Breeze. "Jared, we face danger from many sides," she said. "My empire is threatened. People fear that this alliance with humans will destroy everything we have built." Jared listened carefully. "We have faced threats before on Earth," he said. "The key is to stand united. Enemies often try to divide us, but if we trust each other and work together, we can overcome any challenge." The queen considered his words. Maybe there was a new way to fight, not with hate and anger, but with unity and hope. Together, they began to prepare. Jared introduced new ideas to the alien commanders. He taught them how humans use teamwork and clever tactics, instead of just brute force. They trained side by side. Alien warriors and human soldiers learning from each other's strengths. The queen's loyal followers watched this with mixed feelings. Some were inspired by the humans' courage, while others remained suspicious. They whispered that humans were outsiders. Their ways would weaken the empire. One evening, the queen stood before her council. Her voice was strong and clear. "My people, we face a great threat," she said, "but we will not face it divided. Humans have shown us a new way, a way to protect what we love without losing ourselves to war. We must stand together." The room fell silent. Some nodded slowly, others looked away. But the queen's words planted a seed of hope. Meanwhile, the rival factions moved closer. Their warships darkened the skies over border planets. Small battles began, testing the strength of the Queen's forces. The Queen and Jared led from the front. They flew together on a sleek battle cruiser, coordinating their fleets and inspiring their soldiers. The humans' tactics surprised the enemy, using speed and teamwork to outmaneuver larger forces during one fierce battle. Jared's quick thinking saved an alien planet from destruction. His crew worked with alien pilots, covering each other's weaknesses. The Queen watched from the command bridge, her heart filled with pride. After the battle, the Queen turned to Jared. "You have shown us that strength comes in many forms. We may be different, but together we are stronger." Jared smiled. And this is only the beginning. But the war was far from over. Rival leaders grew desperate. They sent spies and saboteurs into the Queen's empire, trying to break the fragile alliance from within. One night, a trusted advisor was found to be working for the enemy. He had shared secrets of the Queen's defenses, putting her people at risk. The Queen felt betrayal deeply. She wondered if her trust in others had been a mistake. Jared comforted her. Trust is never easy, especially in times of war. But if we give up on it, then the enemies win. We must be careful, but not lose faith. The Queen nodded, wiping away tears. She realized that the path to peace was hard and full of dangers. But she was not alone anymore. As battles raged and secrets threatened, the Queen and Jared grew closer. Their bond was not just of allies, but of true friends who shared a vision. For a better future, under the stars, they planned their next moves. The Queen knew that to protect her empire and her people, she would need all the strength she could find from humans, from her own people, and from the hope that now burned bright inside her. The alien Queen's ship glided back toward her empire, accompanied by Captain Jared and his small human crew. They were not just travelers returning home, they were leaders ready to face the storm gathering around them. The Queen's heart was heavy, but determined. She knew the coming days would decide the fate of her people and the future of the galaxy. As they entered the Empire's borders, the Queen could see the tension in the skies. Warships from rival factions hovered like dark clouds, ready to strike. The once proud planets now held an uneasy silence, as if waiting for a great storm to break. The Queen's loyal commanders gathered on the command bridge. Some still doubted the humans, while others saw hope in their presence. Captain Jared stood beside the Queen, calm and focused. "Our enemies believe we are weak because we have brought humans into our ranks," the Queen said. "But they do not understand our strength." Jared nodded. "We will show them a strength born from unity, from courage, and from the will to protect what is right." Preparations began immediately. Human soldiers worked alongside alien warriors, sharing knowledge and tactics. The Queen watched as two very different cultures began to blend, creating a force unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. The enemy fleets moved closer each day, their warships bristling with weapons. Spies and saboteurs tried to disrupt the Queen's plans, but the combined forces stood firm, ready for battle. Finally, the day came. The first shots rang out in the cold space above a vital border planet. The Queen's fleet surged forward, led by her flagship, with Captain Jared coordinating human and alien ships in perfect harmony. The battle was fierce and chaotic. Enemy fire lit up the dark sky, and explosions shook the ships, but the Queen's forces fought with determination. Inspired by the unlikely alliance they had formed, Jared's quick decisions saved many ships from destruction. He used human tactics, flanking, coordinated strikes, and surprise attacks that confused the enemy, who expected only brute force. On the ground, alien warriors and human soldiers fought side by side. They protected villages and defended cities, their bond growing stronger with each challenge. The Queen watched the battle unfold from her command deck, her heart pounding. She saw the bravery of her people and the humans alike, united by a common goal. At one critical moment, the enemy unleashed a powerful weapon meant to destroy the Queen's flagship. The ship shuddered under the blast, systems failing one by one. But Jared and the Queen's pilots worked quickly, rerouting power and using teamwork to keep the ship in the fight. With a fierce roar, the Queen's flagship broke through enemy lines, leading a counterattack that turned the tide of the battle. Enemy ships began to retreat, their confidence shattered. Victory was hard. But the Queen and Jared had proven that their alliance was a force to be reckoned with. After the battle, the Queen stood before her people. Her voice was strong and clear as she spoke to the gathered crowd. Today, we faced great danger and came together as one. This victory is not just ours, but a sign of what is possible when we unite beyond our differences. Jared stood beside her, proud and humble. The crowd cheered, some still cautious, but many hopeful for the first time in years. The Queen knew the road ahead would still be difficult. Enemies remained, and old wounds would take time to heal. But she also knew that with humans at her side, the future was brighter. She looked at Jared and said quietly, "You have changed my empire and my heart. Together, we will build a galaxy where peace is more than a dream." Jared smiled. "Together, we will protect that dream." Under the stars, the alien queen and the human captain prepared for the challenges ahead, their bonds stronger than ever. The galaxy had witnessed the rise of a new power, one born not from fear or hatred, but from hope and unity. The war was over, but the alien queen knew the real challenge was just beginning. Victory had been won not by strength alone, but by trust, unity, and hope. The Queen stood beside Captain Jared, looking out over her empire from the palace balcony. The stars shone brightly, as if celebrating the new era dawning upon the galaxy. Her people were slowly beginning to see humans not as strangers or threats, but as friends and allies. The Queen remembered how many had doubted her decision to trust the newcomers. Now they saw the power of working together, aliens and humans united for peace. Jared walked beside the Queen, his calm voice breaking the silence. "Your people have great strength and pride. Combined with human spirit, they can achieve anything." The Queen smiled softly. "And you have shown me that hope is not weakness, but the greatest strength of all." Together, they worked to rebuild the empire. Cities damaged by war were repaired and new alliances were formed. Trade routes reopened and cultural exchanges began. Humans shared technology and knowledge, and aliens offered wisdom and experience. But the Queen knew that peace was fragile. Old wounds still ached, and some factions remained suspicious. She called for a great council, representatives from all species and planets within her empire. The council met in a grand hall filled with light and hope. Leaders from many worlds gathered, some wary, others eager for change. The Queen stood at the center, her voice steady and clear. "We have faced darkness and despair, but we chose to stand together. We must build a future where all can live in peace." Captain Jared spoke next, sharing stories of Earth and humanity's long journey toward unity. He reminded everyone that despite differences, all species shared dreams of safety, freedom, and friendship. The council listened, many moved by his words. Slowly, walls of distrust began to crumble. Agreements were made, and plans formed to strengthen the bonds between worlds. As months passed, the Queen and Jared traveled together, visiting distant planets. They met with leaders, helped communities heal, and inspired hope wherever they went. One evening, under the vast sky of a quiet world, the Queen spoke to Jared. "I never imagined I would find such a friend in a human." Jared smiled. "I never thought a queen could teach me so much about courage and honor." Their friendship had grown into something deeper, a partnership that promised a brighter future for all. News of their alliance spread across the galaxy. Stories of humans and aliens standing side by side inspired others to believe in peace and unity. Yet the Queen remained humble. She knew the galaxy was vast and full of unknown dangers, but she faced the future with hope, strengthened by the bonds she had forged. One day, as she looked out over the stars, the Queen thought of the long journey she had taken from exile and loneliness to leadership and hope. She knew the galaxy was changing, and humans were a part of that change. "The galaxy will never be the same," she whispered. "And that is a good thing." With Captain Jared by her side, the alien Queen smiled, ready to face whatever came. Next, together, they would lead the galaxy into a new dawn, a dawn of peace, friendship, an endless possibility.